A huge shout out to the overthinkers.
An overthinker. He watches the show.
To the overthinkers, shout out Buffet too.
All about Fetu, this is Parker, yeah? Thank you, overthinkers.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Thando kuphela. Much love.
To my overthinkers, mamela ubuchopho ngeke buphume buyakhula nizinja nikhokho yazini as overthink siya overachieve.
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that one. I've stolen it.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Mokwena. I am your host. And this show is about all things football. Now, usually we do South African football, we do African football, but I did promise my EPL watchers, the guys who like the EPL, I did promise that they can jump on and we can have a conversation. So this is going to be one of those episodes. Crazy T, I don't know. I'm here. I'm talking to you, unless my pre-recording is incredible. But yeah, guys, welcome to the show. Welcome. The show is on every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. And then on Fridays at 12:30 in the afternoon, I am your host, Mokwena. And then, of course, if you want to watch any of the previous episodes back, they are available. They are available in full on YouTube. So you'll be able to find all of those things. But also, I drop content there almost daily. So check out the YouTube, check out the TikTok, and see my new content. And also, man, send it around, share it, like, comment, do all of those things. It really does help. You're gonna see my follower numbers, those who are watching on YouTube as well. Just click follow, guys. When I go and pitch brands and do all this stuff, the bigger that number is, the bigger the involvement that they want to have is. Also, this is a very interactive show, remember. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to add your voice to the show, you have to follow me on TikTok. Bottom of your screen, there's a button that says multi-guest. Click on that button, I let you in, and we have conversations about whatever we are seeing, from whatever we're talking about. Today, of course, we're going to be speaking about a review of what happened over the weekend. The EPL is back. The PSL is only going to be back next month, but EPL is back and running. The big teams were all in action, and I want to hear from you guys how you feel about your teams. You know, going into the season, seeing the results that you had, and let's have a conversation about those things. Today is an EPL episode, guys. So let's get straight into it. Okay, I'm going to start off. As you can see, I'm wearing my Arsenal top. Look, Arsenal played Wolves and they won 2-0. Havertz and Saka were the two that were on the scoreboard. This season is incredibly important for Arsenal in my eyes. It's incredibly important because this is now the fifth year of Arteta's reign, and he needs to bring home one of the big ones. He's had this team now for 5 years. He's been allowed to spend a lot of money. He's been able to, craft the team and get rid of people and do all of that stuff. So we're looking for the league. We came very close last year, where we finished second. The previous year, we bottled it towards the end. This season has to be the big one where we get it done. The format of the show, guys, just for tonight, is going to be jump in and just tell me what team you support. Then you can speak. We can speak about whatever you support. It's not going to have the same flow as we normally have. I'm going to let everybody come in and have their say. So Arsenal got off to a good start, 2-0 versus Wolves. Then we had Chelsea versus Manchester City, where Manchester City beat Chelsea 2-0. Haaland scoring very early on in the 18th minute. And then Kovacic coming back to haunt his previous club by scoring the second goal, giving Manchester City a 2-0 win that side at Stamford Bridge. Liverpool had the very unenviable task of going to a team that just got promoted. Now, if I remember for Arsenal, we went to Brentford opening night when Brentford came in, and it was a bit of a tight game, but Liverpool was able to win 2-0. This, of course, is Arne Slot's first Premier League game as a Liverpool manager, stepping into very big shoes, left by Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp obviously left Liverpool last year, but he did leave. When leaving, he did bring in Arne Slot, spoke about him, sang about him in the stadium, all of that stuff. So he was welcomed very well. And then, of course, we have the champions from last season, Manchester City, who beat Fulham 1-0. They were able to just get that one goal. Oh, Manchester United, not the champions from last year, apologies. They were able to come versus Fulham and get a 1-0 win through Zirkzee making his debut. So, guys, feel free to jump in. Let's have a conversation about our teams and how we view the EPL. A lot of people have been complaining that I don't do EPL, so this is the chance for us to do it. Apologies for this thing that's happening that's saying this live is pre-recorded. As you can see, I am here. I see Ulenkosi, I see Randy and Dimarekwane, I see Crazy T. So hopefully that goes away after a while, and we'll be able to take it from there. So guys, feel free to jump in and let's talk. Okay guys, look, like I was saying about Arsenal, the last time we won the league was now 20 years ago. This would be the 20th year since the last time we were able to win the league and take it. The last time we were able to get something from league-wise. So it is a very big question, but also there's a huge obstacle that's standing in the way. That Manchester City side is disgusting. That Manchester City side has won, I believe this would be their 5th one in a row if they win it. They have been dominating the English Premiership ever since. In fact, they've dominated so far that 2 of Arteta's assistants, the Chelsea coach and also Arteta, are now fully fledged coaches in the league. So we need to do something. Now I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. I'm old enough to remember the good days, but can you imagine 20 years ago, no league, and we still don't have a Champions League also. So hey, it's very interesting. Let me welcome Agent. Agent, my brother, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, hey, we've been speaking local football for a while. I wanted us to go overseas for a little bit, man.
Aye, overseas has lost its scarcity flavor, man. You've made it lose its scarcity flavor, man.
But let me ask you, as a Manchester United fan, tell me about your team. 1-0 versus Fulham. How are you feeling about the team?
I think good game, to be honest with you. Because I think I could see patterns of play, something which was going to see last year. We managed to reduce the number of shots we faced, because usually average 30 shots to the keeper every game. I think we brought down to 10. But again, we still had similar problems in the sense that our holding midfield, Kobe is good, but he's not a defensive midfielder. So if you're going to be playing kind of a box-to-box midfield, because our 6, 8, and 10 are expected to be in the box, and they're both expected to come back, it's a very tricky thing, and Casemiro doesn't have the legs anymore to do that. But at least he was able to do. He looks a bit fresh. He was able to do that. Excuse me. So it was an overall game, but I still feel like we need that holding defensive midfield with 2 lungs, a Kante kind of person who can cover all the blade of the grass. But yeah, and then Bruno losing balls, but also missing chances. Also saw what is it called? The need to have a clinical striker, And I was happy that Zexi, or Sexy, as they call him, came in and scored a goal. But again, also with these new formations, inverting half full back, what he says he is a 9.5 striker. So I think that's a fancy of saying I won't be scoring a lot of goals. So I'm glad he scored 1 goal at least. So yeah, but generally a 7 out of 10 performance in my view. Yeah.
How do you feel about Eric Ten Hag? I mean, going into the season, a bit of a demotion, if you can call it that. He's now a head coach instead of like a full-on manager. You guys have done a lot of restructuring in the back end. There's Old Trafford needs to be fixed. There's so many things that are happening at Manchester United. How do you feel this season is going to go, and how do you feel about your team at this starting the season?
I think it's controversially speaking, but it's just my opinion. I don't think Bailey was doing the thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man.
I didn't see that much improvement in our strikers. I didn't see much improvement in anything, to be honest. I think he was just what do they call, arm over the shoulder kind of person who was very good with the players, but otherwise in his impact, I still saw the same old, but with Root, maybe it came down to not being given enough power. So now we have a strikers coach who's also an assistant. So I think that also helps, in terms of organization, coming up with ideas. And I think we have two fully fledged coaches who are well experienced in the European football, in Hague and RVP, in Rood.
Rude, yeah.
So I think I love the structuring. RVP, someone else. I know you got feelings, but anyways, I think it helps because I think even at Ajax, Ten Hag was not a manager; he was a coach because of the Ajax kind of structure. So he is a coach, and even the age profile you can see, he doesn't work well with A-listers. He works well with average, not average, but not so-called A-listers. So I think you can even see the signings; they're not your Mbappes of this world. So I think he'll do well in this course, and I like it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back because I want to speak about this false nine, half nine. Modern football. Let me go to Kuma. Kuma, welcome to the show. How are you?
Sharp, and thank you for welcoming me.
Man, Kemnati. Kumo, your team was playing Ipswich this weekend. Ipswich obviously getting promoted last season. First game out. How do you feel about the game? How do you feel about Arne Slot?
We won, bruh. 2 goals to what can you say, ne? But first half, it was disappointing. Liverpool, okay, fine. Nearly away match, ne? But you know what, ne? First half, we were dismal. Ipswich had more shots on target than we had. So, second half, it was a different game. I don't know what Arne Slot said to the boys because we saw much more creative play. Got more happy for some spells. I thought, what's his name? I get yeah. I thought Harvey Elliott was okay. I get one this Colombian guy dyed his hair. He looked like Harvey Elliott. So when did Harvey Elliott have so much flair? So that was confusing, just as a bit of a side note there. Maria, man, to be honest, they're coming in full to this game, Yes, Liverpool is a strong side. We've got quality players and we can compete with any team in Europe. But the lack of transfers, it's worrisome. Okay. We didn't actually get one. Did we even sign someone? I don't know,
Off the top of my head, I don't think so.
Some people go. We didn't get anyone, So basically, he's still playing squad country and clubs players, and to see Konate coming from the bench as the one Mbappé that young boy Kwanzaa, the start. Hori, I don't know. I'm questioning Hori. Maybe he wanted to have a shock factor or to do something to make it seem like Lena, he can do something for the sake of doing something. It didn't make sense to me unless Konato was having some nigglings or was fatigued. The guy was playing Vela, the World Cup. Maybe I cry enough first time. Mara, it didn't make sense because of we know Virgil van Dijk, Konate, or starting to form a formidable relationship at the back. If you want to tweak something, why would you go for number 4 and 5? That didn't make sense to me. But we need a number 6, guys. Can our owners, man, get loosen their purse strings? Because what's going to happen? Because we saw when Salah went to AFCON, right? There is a goal up front. As much as Gakpo was Jota was injured, then Lena, he's going to be injured for some long spells because he's injury prone. Arna enough cover. We can't rely on Nunes. And I like Tori, even though I like the fact Tori and they're always gonna use him as an impact player, but that was not the point. If you wanted to have an impact player, I guess we could have stayed Ka Origi. But I've got so many things to complain about Liverpool. Maria, the game itself, the second half was win. I want to think considering happen when I saw your game, when I saw Manchester United play against Chelsea, complain mahala. They're all ish, you know, they're all SHIT. Our no team actually blew this opening weekend there. Mara if we're being honest, the EPL in a lot boranyana nowadays. So to a point though, I'm actually looking forward to the PSL. So I
So then tell me, so then tell me, Kumo, honest Lord, what type of pressure is the under stepping into Klopp's shoes with Klopp's players? Are you expecting a lot from him, or are you gonna give him this season to just get his feet under him? How is that gonna work out?
Under pressure because of if we're gonna, I mean, like Klopp, ultimately, Arifile, Carabao Cup.
Okay.
And honestly, if you are a sane man and a true Liverpool supporter, you can't give this guy under pressure because of he doesn't have his people. He doesn't he can't be able to actually leave his mark. The pressure it can now maybe from the oppositions making fun of us, telling us that that song we eat rats, we think it's a treat. Got this causes song. So it's when the opposition guys actually make fun of us, the opposition guys thinking Hore Club was a failure, winning 5 cups in 9 years. That's the only time we're gonna get pressure. Mara, I wonder if this guy does things that he wants to do and would say his experimental phase agasiri. That's when we can man, this guy what a waste. But no, for now, he can't do no wrong so far.
Okay, I'm gonna come back because I want to ask you a question on that. But I'll come back for it. Let me go to Lenkosi. Lenkosi, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, how's it, man?
I'm good. Lenkosi, firstly, welcome. What do you support, and what are you looking forward to this EPL season from your team?
I'm a Man United supporter.
Okay.
I'm actually happy this season, you know. I'm very happy with first of all, I would say the type of play we changed. I saw a tip we are now pressing other than before. Man United could wait another team to dominate and then they counterattack. But for now, we are actually pressing. And with Omar Barada in the house, that's our common denominator. He knows a lot about football. He was at Barcelona. He went to Man City. That's we actually have I can say a spinal cord there. I'm very happy. And then with the players also, they're fighting for the jersey. You see how they're playing now. Everybody's running. I saw Mason Mount. I was shocked. How? This is the Mason Mount that we bought. You know, there will be a different this season.
Yeah.
I'm just praying that there won't be any injuries. If we won't have any injury, I'm telling you, we'll be above Chelsea and Liverpool. With Liverpool, with their midfield, we'll be above. They're actually lacking there on them. With McAllister and this other guy, I don't think Liverpool they can even play. Sorry, Kumo, but I saw Liverpool. There will be some games that are going to be tough for them, especially the midfield. It's lacking there.
So then,
with Man
Lenkosi,
United,
who's your striker?
Yes.
Who's going to be bagging these goals for you to jump over Liverpool? I mean, Liverpool already have Mohamed Salah. Are you expecting Rashford to find a green patch?
I think with the season going, they might change the information to maybe 3-5-2.
Okay.
Check how many defenders we have. We got this guy who's injured right now. When he comes back, his contract says he must be on the first team. What is his name? This guy who's injured. They were the one that they just bought.
Oh, no, agent can help there. Agent. Okay, never mind. Carry on.
You remember the defender who's injured?
Is it Delete?
So,
it's Delete.
Yeah,
okay,
Euro.
it's Delete. Euro.
Not Delete, Euro.
Eban.
So it's gonna be. It's gonna be Martinez, Delete, and Euro at the back. Because now they don't even care about Martial what's his name? Sorry, Luke Shaw, about his injury and all that. I see they will play 3-5-2
Okay.
going forward. So it's gonna be an interesting season. And with Man City, they will dominate because Gundogan is coming back. That's the scariest most part, that one. Gundogan is coming back, and Man United is Man City. They wanna dominate again. So here, Man U, my faith is they will compete against Arsenal and Man City.
Hey, I'm going to ask you about that. Let me go to Super, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hey, Ketlalam, kunjani lapho?
Man, ngimnandi, Ketlalami. Tell me, Super, what team do you support that side, and how do you feel about your opening game?
Greetings to the panel, the comment section. I'm with Arsenal. Yeah, I've been with Arsenal for a long time, so that's my team.
It's a song.
Yeah, they looked a bit flat. Defensively, I'm happy with them. You know, that Gabriel Saliba pairing, it's maturing now. Yeah. It's gonna be difficult for Calafiori to break into that. So I'm happy with the center backs. Zinchenko suspect as usual. Very good when we have the ball in midfield, but without the when we are under pressure, he's just nowhere to be seen. Only 3 defenders there. So the midfield good enough with Odegaard. I'm against the decision to let go of Emil Smith Rowe. Because if Odegaard is not there, I don't see who's going to be making those key passes.
Yeah.
Who's this boy? Martinelli, still holding on to the ball for too long. Is a bit one-dimensional for me. I don't see him really having a stellar season. And we still need a striker. So the team in their processes, they've gone very far in their processes. They look a solid team. I don't think anyone takes Arsenal for granted anymore. But the team looks a bit one-dimensional, which is worrisome, especially in the last part of the season. We all know that Jesus is going to get injured. He's going to be out for 4 of the 9 months. And Kai Havertz, he's not a striker. So to put that pressure on him that he must still continue to produce goals this season, I don't think it's fair for Mikel Arteta to do that to him, even though he's shown that he's still capable of scoring. Yeah, it looks a bit iffy, hey? I think for Champions League, for me, it's still not a good enough team. For EPL, we're going to depend on Man City making mistakes. If those mistakes do come, then Arsenal definitely is a top contender. But I don't think we've reinforced enough in the off-season to really say that we're going for it this time. Edin Ketia, for me, is a player that is demoralized. I don't think he's going to score goals when he does come on. So I think all in all, Arsenal's downfall this season might just be Mikel Arteta's stubbornness.
So that's what I want to ask you.
Want to go for a number 9. Yeah.
That's what I ask you. I think it's 5 years of Mikel Arteta, if not going into his 6th, I can't remember, but 5 years of Mikel Arteta. We've got a really good first team. Let's say we've got a very solid first team. How much of an issue is it that when we've had chances to go into the transfer window, we sort of seem reluctant to bring in players that are going to be competition? So we've gone out and we've brought in Jorginho, we've gone out and we've brought in Vieira and those type of players who aren't going to displace anybody in the first team. Isn't it time that now we go out and, Saka have competition, Odegaard have competition, Rice, whoever, Party have competition on the bench that is ready to take over, and they can also serve us going into other competitions? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no. That's the thing. Like, you can see how the season is gonna go. Saka is gonna get burnt out. Martinelli is gonna get injured here and there. Gonna be an over-reliance on Trossard and Havertz. Gabriel is gonna be injured. So I don't understand. Arteta is basically putting loyalty ahead of the club needs at this point. I think. And he's also not showing loyalty to the players that have been there. I mean, Reece Nelson is a player who I believe that he should have kicked on now, but he's not getting enough game time to do so. I mean, he was there when we were this competition, the equivalent to our Cup Winners' Cup. Europa League. He was there, Europa League. He was there giving consistent performances, but also is another player who's going to get demoralized. And honestly, those are players that would have left should we have gotten the 35 million that he wants for each of those development players. So there's no backup. Like, there's really no backup. A couple of injuries, and then we're going to be in crisis mode. I think at some point, the sad thing is that if the board makes an executive decision, he's not going to play the player that they bring in. So at the same time, we want our club to do well, but I think a couple of losses right now in the beginning of the season would actually force them to get that striker. I mean, we don't even need to get a first team striker, just a fringe striker who's known that his goal ratio is good, even though he doesn't get a lot of minutes. A Giroud kind of a striker. We will also need a striker with a presence in the Champions League. When you're playing teams like Bayern and Real Madrid and teams that are gonna quite honestly dominate you, you need someone who's going to do some hold-up play. And as much as Jesus is good with linking up with the midfield and everything like that, he has a tendency of being a creator and not a
finisher,
a reference point. And that's going to cause us problems. We really, I think Mikel should look maybe to the French league, because, the French league is a weak league, but it's got a lot of good players. And then just maybe get, I don't know what happened to Florent Balogun, but we need a striker. We really need a striker. And we also need a backup winger, someone who's hungry, because I believe that Martinelli is going to relax. If he's not injured, he's going to be relaxed and unpredictable. So we need someone to keep him on his toes, and we need someone who's going to rest Saka. Saka, I'm very happy with him, but he's going to get those knocks and niggles, and he's going to get overused, which at the end of the day is going to work against Arsenal.
For time, I'm gonna bring in Chesu. Welcome to the show.
Mr. OT. It's 014. It's just that my little sister was playing with the phone. It's not my fault.
I see with the profile picture, I was like, hey, am I going to be condemned by the church or something? 014. Welcome to the show, my brother. I wanted to know, what team do you support and how do you feel about your opening weekend? Opening match?
I support Liverpool.
Okay.
My opening match, I'm not that confident because, one thing about me, I'm a very picky football watcher. If you look at how we played preseason, we played the same way, right? And now, even in the first match, it's the same style of play and it's too predictable for my liking. It's not that inventive. I was very, very on edge because I'm thinking someone like Pep, someone like Mikel, they'll see the patterns quickly and they'll be like, oh, okay, shut it down, And even in the second half, we still played the same way, So the lack of invention and creativity for me is keeping me on my toes. I won't lie. It's good football. It's solid. At least I'm glad that the team knows what's going on and everyone just got in and figured it out. But yeah, it's a bit too predictable for my liking. It's really, really too predictable. The squad is looking good, but oh man, slot ball is too predictable. I don't like it.
How much of him following Klopp is going to play into this? Because we've seen managers that follow the really big ones usually struggle. You know, we can go as far back as Moyes with Fergie. We can go back to Wenger and Good Evening. We can go back to a whole bunch of... How hard is it to follow quote-unquote legend? And do you think maybe Slot, as you're saying it, is maybe too vanilla of a coach to follow Klopp as far?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna use recency bias and say, Dutch managers tend to come to the Premier League and win something, whether it be a Carabao Cup or a FA Cup, right? So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt in that instance. But I genuinely think these are big boots to fill. His style of play, for me, like I'm saying, he's not. Maybe Pep can help him go crazy as well, so he can be creative. But he's really not that inventive. I mean, he's good. He's able to rely on his players' abilities, And the way things are looking from slot ball, his main guy is definitely going to be Soboslai. That's his main. That's our new main guy. It's no longer like Trent and stuff like that. So we'll see how this new project works, especially building it around Soboslai. But man, too predictable. I'm honestly not ready for the Man United game because they already look, dangerous. I mean, Erik ten Hag has his well-known boys. He took his Ajax and he put it into the Premier League, and obviously they know his philosophy. So, man, it's gonna be shaky. It's gonna be shaky for us this season, but we'll see.
Let's talk about the midfield. You've spoken now about Soboslai maybe being one of the main people. How big of a difference is it going to be moving away, even further away from just having, Liverpool had workmen in the midfield, people who are just there to put a job in. You weren't there to do anything fancy. Balls would often bypass them, go to Bosala up front and all of that stuff. How much of a change is this going to be, seeing as, for example, Thiago didn't do super well when he came to Liverpool?
Yeah, this new possession style of play that we are not accustomed to, let me say the one that I didn't grow up with, is definitely going to be different. And like I'm saying right now, McAllister, oh man, this midfield is in a lot of trouble because Soboslai is now playing that 10 role, which McAllister wants to play, which we know McAllister is able to play. We've seen him do it for Argentina. We've seen him do it in Brighton. And now it's a matter of understanding who's going to play what. McAllister tried to play the 6. We tried to play him in the 8. And then we had Gravenberg playing that 6. McAllister's not good as an 8. We even saw it last season when we tried to put McAllister in either the 6 and the 8, that it's not going to work out. So it's very, very tough. This new midfield is in a lot of trouble. Curtis Jones is already not in good terms with the manager. The manager saying he's too arrogant. There's a lot that's going to go on, but hopefully our saving grace will definitely be Gravenberg adapting into that 6 role and Soboslai playing as the new 10. That's really all I'm gunning for this entire season. Soboslai and Gravenberg finding a way to make it work. Hopefully next season we can get McAllister in.
Hey, you guys are gonna miss Bob Milner.
Hey, yo, we're gonna miss our engine.
Let me bring you to Temsa. Temsa, I don't know how you follow chess. But welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing, my bro?
No, I'm good, my brother. Hey, it's been a long time since I've been here.
Yeah, you must come back. Temsa, we win 2-0 versus Wolves. How do we feel about that game?
Yeah, now I'm really happy about the win, and I'm really happy about the squad that we have. I'm gonna be a bit of contrary to what Super was saying. You understand? Okay. So, looking at our squad, yes, we do need a striker, but then Arteta is having a plan. That's why he wants to offload other players. Remember, we are not desperate this time. You understand? I like how come we are in the transfer market. We are not being bullied around, forced to pay a huge amounts of money where we don't have to. If we don't have to, we'll just stick to what we have right now. You understand? So we are not forced to splash money out and all that, and we are not being bullied around to sell players at whatever cost that they want, the other clubs want. They want in Ketia, we're sticking to the price. We're holding on to the price that we want to sell him for, and we're also holding out for, who is it again? Ramsdale.
Sorry,
you understand? So we have to. Arteta wants to sell players so that they can bring in other players. So I think in Ketia, once we sell in Ketia, we're gonna sign a striker. We know that Victor Gyökeres has been on Mikel Arteta's radar. If we sell Nketiah, we're gonna get him, and then it seems like he has entrusted Nwaneri to come in there to promote him so that he can be backup for Saka. And to be honest, I'm happy with the boy, and I'm happy that we're promoting young players still. You know, it's not always that we have to go out there and sign players. Who's out there? Who's going to play there? Who's top quality? Let's be honest. You understand? We don't have to just sign players because we wanna brag to other fans. The team telling or no, we've signed who and who. But then we have to look who is there in the market, who we can sign that can play there. You understand? And then we see more marketing. There's no one. You understand? There's no one really. So we might as well bring in that boy who is good enough for me to at least rest Saka in games that we feel yes, he can produce something there. You understand? So the depth is there. You see Calafiori coming in, Timber is not going to play as much this season because he doesn't want to take the risk of him being injured again. He's going to integrate him slowly into the team, just like how he did with Martinelli back then when we thought maybe he had an issue with Martinelli, but no, he said he wants to take care of Martinelli. He knows what he's doing with Martinelli. He didn't want him to get injured again, so he didn't rush him. So it's nice now because we can relax and let Timber be integrated slowly into the team because we already have a back four which is solid. We don't have to rush him. So you'll get those second half moments, maybe an FA Cup here and there, so that he can be fully a first team player, a first 11 player. So even in midfield, we can afford to lose Pati Hanyane. We're looking at Merino. He can be a cover. When we are leading, we can easily substitute Party and then let someone else finish off the game. So we have the players who we can save whenever we need to save them with other players. Odegaard, yes, maybe he's trusting Fabio Vieira. Let's give the guy a chance. I always have this feeling that Vieira will give us something. It's just that it's unfortunate that Odegaard is a captain, he's a regular, and he's always being forced to play out on the right hand side. Vieira is a 10 as well. He plays exactly where Odegaard is playing. It's just that now he's competing against the captain who's our main player. He's our key player. We're building around that player. You understand? So yeah, I'm happy with the team. I'm happy with the win. I'm looking forward to this season. I think we're going to have a wonderful season. We have a chance in the league, and then we might go far in the Champions League.
So Tebza, I just want to ask, I hear you mentioning that a lot of the players that we brought in, you know, it's for rest purposes, you know, if somebody's tired, demand Vieira thing. Will there come a time where during Arteta's reign, knowing that now he's 5 years in, he's won an FA Cup very early on, but we haven't been in the trophies, will there come a time where we'll need to make superstar signings? Do you think that Arteta is a coach that can handle superstars, and does that hold us back in terms of signing players that, you know, instead of resting Saka, you sign a player that's going to compete directly with him, maybe even slightly better than him, to raise his bar? Same with Odegaard, same with across that front line. I don't think Havertz is worried about Jesus, if I can put it that way. At what point do we make the move to, you know, go to the next level in terms of the player personnel?
I think he is capable of making that superstar signing. It's just that it's all about having the right player. You understand? You see, this market right now, guys, it's crazy, and I see Arteta is someone who wants players that wants to come to Arsenal. He will approach a player, but then if he gets a feel that the player doesn't want to come to Arsenal because he loves Arsenal, he won't sign that player. You understand? He wants players that want to come to Arsenal. If a superstar wants to come to Arsenal, he will definitely sign him. If he approaches the player and the player gives him that feel that, okay, I really want to come to Arsenal. I want to succeed in go Arsenal. They will make that signing. You understand? So he doesn't want to sign a player that will come in and destroy the dressing room because of egos and all that. He doesn't want to destroy the harmony that is in the Arsenal camp. So it's not a matter of can he sign big players or not. Yes, he can, but then also having harmony in the dressing room is very key to a team. So I don't blame him anyhow because he has shown with the likes of Bo Partey. It's a big signing. It was a big signing. And Bo Partey are players that wanted to come to Arsenal. You can see whenever he's playing, his heart is there. He doesn't even want to leave. You understand? He wants to be there and win things with Arsenal. Those are the players that we need, not the players who want to come to Arsenal and just collect cash. Just look at Chelsea. Do you think those players really want to play for Chelsea? No. It's all about the contract, 8-year contract, big money, paychecks. You understand? They are all going there to secure the bag, nothing else.
Okay. Guys, please follow if you have not followed. Agent, I'm gonna throw a curveball to you because we haven't spoken about this team yet. What do you think of what's happening at Chelsea? Seeing as they've changed, they've brought in Pep Light. Sterling are putting out statements. What's happening at Chelsea?
A wise man asked, no, he's not wise. That one is not wise. He's just a spitting guy, from his 10 team, who eat rats. But anyways, he asked a very valid question that I wonder if players don't share a locker room, where do they even change? Because it's too much. They've even signed Felix now, so you wonder where is he fitting all in there. I think some clauses in life are important, but sometimes they can have an opposite effect, If you recall, we are kind of praising Abramovich that he inserted a clause that the new owner, Todd, has to pump in a certain amount of money before he can get benefits from Chelsea,
Yeah.
And I think knowing American businessmen, and remember this was a crowdfunding kind of model, so he does wants to return money to investors as soon as possible. So he had to make sure that that clause is activated so that he can start milking cash from Chelsea. So he ended up splashing cash, everywhere and getting everybody that they can sign, even you they can sign you even now, so I won't be surprised, so it's one of those where I'm partly to blame for Abramovich for that clause, but I guess it was meant in good. And then again, it becomes the importance of having a footballing structure, that's something that United have struggled with, I think people never understood when we said you don't want Glazers out, because people like, but you guys are spending millions on Pogba, Sancho, Di Maria and stuff. But no, those are A-listers. Those are, they're not footballing decisions. So what this guy did, he took out, I'm forgetting his name, Marina, I think, the lady, went to Newcastle, I think.
Maria Goro.
So,
her.
Yeah, that Russian woman. So I think that was the first wrong thing. They took out footballing people and placed in investors, or not investors, but economics people, accounting people, because what happens in accounting, there's something what they call gearing, so when you have a loan, what you usually do is, if you have higher expenditures, that reduces the amount of interest you put on the loan, and that reduces the tax and everything. So some of the signings I feel like is just for tax purposes and just for for gearing purposes. So I think it's a messy situation, and the chopping and changing of coaches doesn't help. I still feel like Poch was a stability coach who was getting it along towards the end. I think they did finish above us. So I think they were getting it right towards the end, and they just needed to trim down the squad. So yeah, it's one of those case studies that people will later learn in life that, too much money sometimes is bad, and yeah.
And then how do you feel about just to take it back to your team, obviously new ownership and all of that. How do you feel about the transfers maybe that you guys made in terms of Manchester United? How do you feel about transfers in general in the EPL? It doesn't seem like there were many groundbreaking moves that were made, and a lot of the bigger teams are pretty much sticking to their guns with the people that they have. How do you feel about, firstly, your team's transfers, and then secondly, this pattern for man? We haven't seen ground-shaking transfers this time around.
I think, personally, I think we still need a holding midfielder. Like I said, Ugarte kind of, we wanted back, but because we're not going to get him, but I still feel we need a Casemiro alternative, and I think goes back to the question that you asked my brother beneath me, here, that I think sometimes you need, yes, you can raise the floor of a team by improving the squad, but if you want to get to the next level, you raise the floor of the team by improving the first 11, And I think for us, we are at a level where we have to kind of do both. And I think Arsenal is at a point where they have to just increase the level of the first team to get to the next point, So with us, I'm kind of okay with it. If you can get a holding midfielder, I think that would make 4 or 5 signings. And like you're saying, key study Chelsea, you don't want to bring 8, 9 new players in because that destroys everything. You just have to build from the back. You've covered the Mazraoui, the lead, so the defense is covered. The holding midfielder with Ugarte, hopefully, and then a striker, so the spine is taken care of, So I believe, the guys know what they're doing, And also, I think another major challenge for United specifically was we wanted to remove the so-called United tax. That's why we haven't signed any player for £60 million, not euros, but pounds. For now, we want to reduce that. So I think that is in part why we haven't spent so much money on A-listers. But in general, to other teams, I think each team is unique, because you look at Man City don't necessarily have to strengthen. Man City is Man City. Arsenal, yes, I feel like, you guys would go for a typical number 9 and OC, but looks like I said, I still feel like Arteta is not the kind of coach yet who wants to have a player with more ego than him, So I understand that point of view. You go to Chelsea, Chelsea's been Chelsea, Liverpool, the guy just arrived. You don't want to rock the boat a bit too much because you bring in new players, you're destroying the foundation. They have a good, solid foundation and they have very good players, I think that's why you see Spurs, it's being spacey. I think that's why you see that the teams outside the original top 6 or the traditional top 6 are the ones that are spending more, because I think those are the ones that need more signings than the top 6, obviously, including United in that sense. So yeah, I think it has just been a case of different teams are going through different phases at which they don't necessarily need A-listers. I feel like if there's going to be a huge signing, it had to come from us now more than any other team, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Kuma, 3 things. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think is happening at Chelsea, your thoughts about Chelsea? And then secondly, how do you feel about your transfer window over there at Liverpool? And then thirdly, man, it doesn't seem like transfer window. It doesn't seem like a lot has been done by a lot of the teams, and we've pretty much all got, by and large, the same teams that we had last season. What's the cause of those things?
Financial fair play. Like we were so excited when the rich Arabs bought Newcastle, because we were like, it's gonna be a competition between Aston Villa, Manchester City, rich of proper billionaires. Because of this financial fair play, you're killing the spirit of the game. No one wants to do everything, because if you wanna do anything, during transfer window, you have to sell your best players to balance the books. It's boring. Go Chelsea or na I think it's karma, because of Roman Russian.
Abramovich.
Yeah, karma. What are people's tears? I'm not gonna let him. ba mo lokile team ba tla mmontsha badimo ba go Russia wa bona ai rena maitshomo ne ntse re le discapsela wa itse ku Liverpool we have to find creative ways. That is why when Klopp nakwela announced his retirement we say I'm tired. I get vela but we only have 2 brain cells but or he's tired of competing le Pep. No, yeah, he mentor he was tired because he's been protecting but again the owners for Liverpool for a long time. He had to perform miracles doing the balancing and worst part because Liverpool is such an important team go England. You're only like you're only Manchester United. If those two Maya EPL, honestly, if you're being fair. So the thing shield about man like you both are 10,000 marabaru you have to compete le team is 1 million yes over the years we had spent a lot of money bringing the likes of your Alisson, level Van Dijk, but that was because we had to sell important players. It wasn't because we had the money there. So my guy, and I wanna if the Premier League in celebrate to let these rich owners do as they please or throw an excitement because one thing about owners that's where ego. I want to have got ego, credibility. So they're gonna want to invest in the biggest stadium. They're gonna want to invest in the best players. They're gonna invest in the best facilities. As much as Leicester can compete, I want Mara. In the long run, your entire football has a lot of has tons of investment. I want so I don't know. I don't know, man.
So then, while I have you, Kubo, again, does this become an even bigger task for Arne Slot? Because now I know Klopp retired, but you guys also got, well, the guy who was your chief executive, Andrews, I think his name is, also left. Aren't you scared, man? You're now seeing some of the cracks with FSG. You now brought in this coach who's going to have to do miracles as Klopp was doing, Klopp to the point where he retired. Is there any fear for Liverpool this season that it could be not a collapse season, but a bad season when restructuring, if that makes sense?
Luckily for us, our rivals are equally as bad.
Okay.
So Liverpool, my guy, like we've got such talent, regardless. Even though, like, as I stated before, like our transfer activities is not even activating, only a spike in the graph. So we are another thing. Maybe if the rumors are true, the Saudis buy Salah for close to 100 million, we'll get someone. Or we have to rely heavily on buying people on the cheap. Maybe we should go get the S's cousins come Colombia come. I don't know, something has to give. Mara, I wonder as much as our first half thing, it's too early to panic or to actually give a positive or an accurate report. Ka December. December okay, now we can really we got enough data to actually formulate an informed decision or an opinion. Because right now there's a lot of factors. It was the first game, we played early, we don't know, people are jet lagged, we're still trying out formations, we are in transition. But having said that, I don't believe our transition phase will be as bad as the United. Up United are still going on are still in the transition. I don't know how many years. So we won't get to that part. One thing, he didn't really rely on superstars. He didn't rely on superstars. The players always instill that mentality. You need to play for the badge. You need to have a brotherhood. You need to, instill that thing. We play for our fans because that's exactly what makes you a Scouser. You play for the badge, and that's what he left, and that's what we always gonna go through. And if you look at personality traits, even though Arne Slot is not as charming as Klopp was, But Lena, he looks like a guy that likes to hug his players. I know it's a bad thing, Diego, in South Africa, Mara. You know, that thing.
Please don't give up on me,
stuff.
Kumi. Please don't give up on me, man.
Give up, yeah, I want to love letter. What do you want, Lena? One more, now I want to take a bullet. Yes, one more. Now he's that guy to ask you. I want. Now I'm just hoping, fella, we do good CAF Champions League, and I think we might actually compete properly for the title this year.
Okay. Let me go to Lenkosi. Three things. Chelsea, how do you feel about what they're doing? What's going wrong there, since we don't have a Chelsea fan on? And then transfers. How do you feel about your team's transfers? And how do you feel about transfers in general in the EPL, man? They haven't lit the world on fire. I don't know if Lenkosi is still with me.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, sir. So, yeah, I want to talk about Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea, they're just buying, man. They're just buying, and they're not buying because of a position. They're just buying because they just need a player and so on. So, hey, for me, and they are playing this guy. They don't have a a central, like a attacking midfielder for them to supply Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto right now is gonna suffer at the winger. I feel like they need to bring in Palmer inside and find another right winger. Yes, he's very good on the right winger, Palmer, but I feel like they need to bring him in inside for him to supply. Because nobody's going to supply Pedro Neto on the other side. Pedro Neto was a good signing for them. I'm very happy with that one. Even when he came off, you could see like he came to dominate. He really wanted a big team to play for. Yeah, with Chelsea. And the other thing, they just need to finalize on that part, because people are just everywhere. You understand? Everybody Sesedo is also everywhere. They don't have that thing, you know. That's why I'm going to count them out of top 5. I don't think Chelsea is going to be there or the top 5. Yeah.
So then tell me, is it how much of
Liverpool?
How much of that is leadership? You know, you can say what you want about, let's say, Man City, but they made sure that, okay, we want to play Pep football, and we're going to give Pep everything that Pep needs. We're going to restructure the whole thing. How it feels to me, Ikare, they're not ready to go all in on a coach and all in on a system, and now they're just floating around. How much of this comes down to team leadership, especially up there at the top?
Yeah, there's no leadership. As you see, all the players that they're signing, like right now, this boy is coming. What is his name from Atletico Madrid? Sooner it's going to be, what is his name from Napoli, the striker? Osimane.
Oh, sorry, Osimane,
It's going to be same as like Nkuku. Yeah, it's going to be the same as Nkuku. And these boys, they are selfish. They can't even pass each other. They just want to prove for themselves that I can do it, but that's not how the team plays. So it comes to the coach as well. What is the coach bringing to Chelsea? Also, we're going to see him going in the next 5 games, you see, because 5 games are going to tell a lot, especially this season. 5 games are going to tell a lot. Even this big 4, we will see where we, like for Man United, the Liverpool game is going to tell a lot. After, it's going to be next week, yeah. It's going to tell a lot how the team, where they are, how are they building and all that. So with Chelsea, there's still a big business to do there. Tottenham might be above them this season.
And then transfers?
And then,
or did you want to jump
transfers, not that much on the transfers this season. All the teams, yes, Arsenal, they did a very big signing with their defender. That guy is very good. I've been watching him, you know. He's very good. They're actually boosting on the defense, and that's how most of the teams are doing. You always build from the back, coming to the midfield. When you build your back, you know that you're solid, and it's going to be easier going up front and all that.
Yeah.
Like how Man United have done. They I like even Maguire is not going anywhere, even if he's there. One of the, see how he performed last weekend. He actually performed very well, but you are substituted because of the yellow card. You see, like teams are building. That's what I'm saying. With Man United, I couldn't say we don't want to be called we are fighting for league. No, we are building. Man United are still building, and I could judge them in the second half of the season, like how they will perform and how, especially the first 5 games. If Man United can win first 5 games, the last first 5 games when Ferguson was in charge, and if they can win first 5 games, it's not gonna be easier to catch them. They have to be careful. First 5 games, one team must beat United for them to cool them down. That's the faith I have with Man United. But for league, for now, I still give it to Man City and Arsenal. Arsenal, if they can't do it,
I'm gonna come back for that question. That's gonna be the final round.
Okay, no problem.
Let me go to Super. What's happening at Chelsea? What are you seeing from Chelsea? How do you diagnose their problems? And then 2 and 3, my question 2 and 3 is, how do you feel about the transfers? I know we touched on it a little bit, but can you go deeper on it with Arsenal? And then at the end, just tell me about transfers in general. You know, English Premiership teams aren't lighting up the transfer window, or are we lacking superstars in this modern football? How do you feel about those 3 things?
Okay, with Chelsea, for anyone who's a gamer and plays FIFA a lot, you know, in your career mode, you get to a point where you ask yourself, what the hell am I doing with this team? And then you just start a whole new career and you just leave it as it is. With all of the superstars on 93 and 94, but you're just like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah.
Chelsea doesn't have a philosophy. I think what happened when Chelsea is a small club with a lot of money. Their success is pretty recent. They don't have a philosophy. Abramovich did them a huge one. And then now that he's gone, you see that he left with the vision. Chelsea used to be, under Abramovich, a very robust club, a club that you couldn't bully physically, and it also had ball players. Right now, they don't have a philosophy at all. The only philosophy that remained from Abramovich is the big spending. You've got players that don't really want to be there, Raheem Sterling, who went there just to secure their future. You've got Abo Pedro Neto, who have just arrived, but they're going to be deflated once they see what's happening. You've got Abo Gallagher that left when he was supposed to be solidified in the first 11, but you can see this team doesn't really have a direction. It just has money.
Yeah.
So they need to seriously push the reset button, and for them to do that reset, it means they need to voluntarily fall down the log so that they can give themselves a chance to rebuild. Financial fair play has a lot to do with it. I think it's not just Manchester United, but all English teams are overcharged for their players. Now I'm just moving into the transfers.
Yeah.
All English teams are overcharged when they want to buy a player. You know, if a Serie A team wants a player, it's a 20 million. If AC Milan wants a player, it's a 20 million, 25 million. The moment they see Arsenal, Chelsea, their eyes light up, and then the figures go into the 30s, the 40 millions. I think that precedent was probably set by the Paul Pogba transfer, where everyone just saw that the English Premier League is a free-for-all. Unlike in Spain, where you get your money's worth. So, yeah, the league is a bit spoiled by those 2 aspects. The financial fair play, one side is, I think it was Kumo who correctly stated that the owners aren't able to flex their muscles the way they want to, which is actually does a disservice for, in inverted commas, the best league in the world. Because now you cannot get the best players to compete with each other because of the financial constraints and the balancing of the books that needs to be done, the tax evasions and all of those things. Clubs taking the league to the court and outstanding charges and all of that drama. The league is just becoming very dull because of that. So yeah, I don't think we are going to see any earth-shattering transfers in the league until that is looked at again.
But can I ask you something? Can I ask you, do we still have earth-shattering stars in football? So do we still have transfers that can be made that can break the internet, for lack of a better phrase?
Honestly, those kind of players, they prefer to go to Real Madrid. Or they prefer to go to Real Madrid. Like their destination is preset that I want to go to Spain. I want to go to Spain for the money, for the weather, and for the Champions League glory. Players who are looking for glory are not looking at the English Premiership. Players that are looking for money are looking at the English Premiership. So the players are there. The players will always be there. I mean, I'm sure Nakwebo, Van Basten, Badlala, the world at the time was thinking to itself, will we ever see players like this again? Well, Maradona, Pele, when they were playing, the world was asking itself, will we ever see players like this again? So I think for now, yes, players are overcoached. Football is a bit too tactical. There's no freedom that players that used to enjoy. Kanina Gotsela Tsabo Figo, Tsabo R9, Tsabo Ronaldinho. We're not seeing that much freedom in the players. But you've got brave players every now and then. And unfortunately, the moment that star pops up, they end up at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And that's why you're seeing players that are actually of that high star quality, like Rodrigo, are nowhere to be seen right now because everyone just wants to go to Spain.
Okay. Yeah.
Arsenal transfers, look, man, we just need a number 9. That's all we want. That's all we've been asking for the last 2 years. We haven't complained about anything else that Arteta has done. We just want a number 9 who's going to give us 20, 25 goals a season. Gabriel Jesus is not that player, even though he's got an excellent Champions League record, but he's always in the injuries. So now my only complaint on the transfers is we need a number 9. The other positions, I mean, we've got Brighton and Hove Albion who will always produce players for us. We took Ben White, we took Trossard there. So I expect that Arsenal will probably sign their head of scouting in the next coming years. It's the Arsenal way. Development, taking the rising stars has always been the Arsenal way. But we do just need a marquee signing. Yeah, maybe Mikel Arteta still has some PTSD about Aubameyang. But we do need a marquee signing up front just to cap the castle, if I can put it like that.
Okay. Let me go to 014. 014, tell me a little bit about Chelsea. How do you feel about Chelsea? What's going wrong there? And then tell me about your transfers. How do you feel about how your team has gone about their transfers? And then tell me about transfers in general, man. I want to know, why is it that we're not... I don't think we've seen that much excitement for a while. Even when Bohalan joined Man City, yeah, there was noise, Mara. It wasn't, Ozil going to Arsenal or, something earth-shattering like that.
Yeah.
How come we don't have those type of things? And maybe do we still have players that are that huge?
Let's start with Chelsea. Chelsea are just balancing the books right now. I genuinely think... that's all that's happening, nothing like Agent said it better. I think Agent said it best. It's just a matter of balancing the books, an owner trying to clean the money. And yeah, it's nothing really.
Allegedly, don't get me into trouble. Allegedly.
Oh yeah, sorry, allegedly. I don't want this channel to get closed. Yeah, allegedly, I'm sorry. Yeah, so with Chelsea, man, I think Chelsea, there's still a chance. When there's money, there's a difference. Anything can happen. So for Chelsea now, let them spend. Let them buy. Once the books are balanced and everything is proper, definitely a project is going to come. I'm not even a Chelsea fan, but you can see what's going to happen. You can see. And then what was the second question? My transfer.
It was about transfers, yeah. How do you feel about your team's transfers?
My team's transfers. Who? Haven't signed anyone. But if you look at my team's transfers, we know that we don't really have pulling power. I remember when I was still a kid, Luis Suarez once said, when he went to Liverpool, no one wanted to go to Liverpool, right? So ever since FSG took over in 2010, we don't offer big contracts. I mean, one of our most electric players in Lucho is not paid enough. You know, he might not be clinical, but oh my God, that boy on the ball, and he's not paid enough. So obviously, we don't have that pulling power in terms of getting elite players. We've never been that side. We can never be that side. And Klopp was such a great manager because he could make do. And with Slot, apparently he can also make do with what he has. So that's why FSG went for him. You know, we could have tried to get anyone, but they said, no, we want someone who can make do. And that's what happened. When we tried to get the sporting manager, remember, the Lisbon manager, he wanted so much money. And what did FSG say? No, leave. So FSG are not really looking to invest in a coach who wants to build an elite side. You know, they want a coach who can build an elite side with 10 rands. So it's fine. And as for transfers in general, let us not be nostalgia merchants.
Okay.
Gents, let us not be nostalgia merchants. Football has changed. You know, back in the day, we used to hear, and by back in the day, I mean when I was 5, but we used to see it on the news that someone is going somewhere, right?
Okay.
And with social media advancements, we have guys like Fabrizio Romano, the transfer. So it waters down the transfers, right? So I think that's why there's nothing staggering. It's because transfers are very watered down. It's like Haaland is coming, Haaland is signed, Haaland is landed. So we know every single thing about the transfer. So that's why. And in terms of having star talent, we definitely have star talent. Remember, a lot of our star talent is very young. Eh? We are at a stage now where a lot of our star talent are 22, 23. Right? And obviously football has changed, but they're good enough for the way football is now. I mean, if Musiala was to go to Aston Villa, that would be earth-shattering. You understand? For people who know football, when Mateus Nunes signed for City, it was like, what? He was their best player going there. When Paqueta was linked to City, it shook. So I think, let us not say that star players are not there. We have Jude Bellingham, who I was praying was going to come to my side. He went for Madrid. Now he's a Ballon d'Or contender, you know? Vinicius Jr., 100 goals. Not a few, I think 10 seasons back, just a few seasons ago, he was basically the weakest link in Madrid, and now he's their star boy. So we do have elite players. We have so many elite players, so many elite players, so many amazing players. Rafael Leao, if Rafael Leao decided to wake up one day and say, I'm leaving Milan, that would shock the world. Where is he going to go? Who's he going to sign for? You know? And yeah, man, I think that's one of the reasons why transfers also are not that really spectacular, is also because that, you know, players are trying this loyalty thing and players want money. And in terms of, I think Kumo spoke about the EPL. Let me talk about the billionaire spending thing. Financial fair play is not a bad thing when you think about it. Because look at what happened to Serie A. Clubs are bankrupt. Milan is still bankrupt. Inter is still bankrupt. Juve still, everyone is bankrupt, right? Same thing happened with the Eredivisie. Ajax started losing money. Feyenoord started losing money. You understand? And so what the EPL is trying to do is not let the Premier League become one of those leagues where their biggest teams might even disappear, you know, because of debt. So I think financial fair play is a good thing. It allows these billionaires to know that, hey, we don't want you to get this club in debt and then you leave. You know, the same way they do in almost every league. You understand? So many teams are in debt in Germany. Stuttgart was in debt not a few years ago. You understand? Breaking Union Berlin was in debt. Everyone is in debt when the billionaires come and spend too much. So we should be glad that there's minimal spending when there's a lot of money. That makes sure that clubs are still alive. You know, we don't want to find ourselves in a Premier League without Man United. I mean, who am I going to bully? You know? So
I like that point, but can I ask you, in terms of football?
Yeah.
Does the transfer thing that we're talking about get affected by the fact that teams are no longer looking for two or three 95 rated players and then everybody else is 6s? They're moving more towards a 7.5 across the board. You know, they're not going to blow it up. They're not going to go crazy. You can control them. Does that affect what these transfers look like? Even when you look at the culture of coaches, where the coaches now, I mean, Arne Slot has never coached a top league side, right? For example, it's his first. Arteta came in as, you know, he was an assistant to Pep, came in. The guy at Kimang Brighton, Leanna had never coached in the... How much of that plays into it? That maybe teams are now looking for more stability to say, if I bring in somebody who's big, they might not listen to the coach. But if I bring in, you know, good players and have good players across the board, and I have a cheap coach who also doesn't want to deal with superstars, who's done well with small budgets. How much of that is also playing into these transfers?
A lot. I think you must also remember that we're in an era, if you look at football, there's always an era where a manager is most dominant. We had the Alex Ferguson era. I mean, for my time when I was watching football, we had the Fergie era and we're in the Pep era, all right? And how the biggest and best manager works their things shakes the landscape, right? We live in an era where now the whole team has to be balanced. I mean, with Fergie wasn't afraid to get stars left, right, and center to make it work. He knew that he could, pop their bubbles and pop their egos. So right now, teams are just looking to ensure that the whole team is balanced. There's teamwork all over. There's unity. The players are not that big of, there's no egos to ensure that the manager can have a fluid playing style. Remember, a lot of these teams are still getting new owners and they're trying to build philosophies. Like your Brighton, which has recently been brought back to the Premier League, it's trying to build philosophies. I think they saw that with De Zerbi, they were starting to be a feeder club, losing all of their nice and star players. So now they're trying to get a manager who's new, who's fresh, who has ideas, which they can embed it into the club's roots, So we're not going to see a lot of star players, maybe in the EPL, being signed left, right, and center, because teams I have seen that, having a footballing philosophy actually works out. Like I'm saying, football is changing. But it's not, we mustn't pretend like Osimhen won't eventually join City or Osimhen won't eventually join Arsenal. Big star signings are still possible, but it's definitely going to be one of those, are you a necessary big star signing or not?
Okay.
So yeah, man, football has changed. We need to adapt to the new change. Musiala is still at Bayern when his contract should have expired, I think, this season. So yeah, football is definitely changing. We're in a transitional period.
Let me bring in Tebza. Tebza, can you give me your thoughts about Chelsea, number one, and then number two, how do you feel about Arsenal transfers? I know you touched on it a little bit, but how do you feel about what we've done? And then how do you feel about transfers in general in the EPL? We haven't seen Jude Bellingham, Libo Mbappe, how or players of that ilk start joining the English Premiership. A lot of the teams have stayed pretty much the same. How do you feel about that, Tebza?
Starting off with Chelsea, I think having watched them this past week, I was actually impressed with how they played. They played much better. I could see what Enzo Maresca is doing with the team. They just need to shape up their squad, man. It's too big. It's too big of a squad to manage for the whole season. So they have to cut players. I saw they started cutting off Cabo Stelly. You understand? They starting to question their role in the team. You understand? So it's a big squad. So they just have to be straightforward to the players that they think they're not going to be part of the team. Just tell them in time. It's already late, but then just tell them now so that their agents can make a plan for them to get teams elsewhere. You understand? So they've got Joao Felix. That tells you something, that Sterling is not going to be used. You understand? So they gotta have also a striker. They need a striker. That Jackson, he's not going to give them anything. You understand? So if they cut down their team, and then Maresca gets his core of starting 11, I think we might see a totally different Chelsea. I was scared to see them, how they pressed and all that. So I'm not personally, I don't know if others can see it, but then if they get it right, I'm scared of this Chelsea. Understand? So yeah, they just have to trust Enzo with his plan, and I think he's gonna get it right. With our signings, Arsenal, yes, I agree with Super. We just need a striker there who's going to compete, not just to be a squad player, who's going to be there and push Havertz, and him and Havertz push each other. You understand? Whoever gets a chance to play
they know what they just have to give 110% on the in the game. So I don't have much about Arsenal. I'm happy with everything. I just want to see how is he going to use Zinchenko this season. I think he's going to integrate him in the midfield as time goes on, because with Calafiori there, I think he's going to be the one who's going to be a regular. It's just that he wants to bring him slowly into the team. He's going there by December. We're going to see Calafiori starting week in, week out. So I want to see him there, Zinchenko, what's his plan about Zinchenko. And also I see Tien is still in the team because he's injured, so he's not going anywhere. Half our life is still going to be around. We'll see if he's going to be used as well. And then the signings in general, I think about these superstars and all that, we are lacking to see pure football because of nowadays players are chasing stats instead of playing really good football. You understand? We're chasing stats, man. And we spoke about this about Jude Bellingham last season. Come next season when they get a proper striker, he'll stop scoring. People will start saying, he's not performing. You watch that game against Atalanta, he was brilliant. He was brilliant. You understand? But for those who watch highlights and who just want to watch the score sheets, they'll say, you see, he's not scoring now and all that. People must start watching games and appreciate whatever especially the midfield players are doing. A player can play 5 games without assisting, without scoring, but be a key factor to a team. Take that player out of the team, you'll see how much important those players are. You understand? So there are superstars, just that now they are under pressure to make huge impacts via the stats, so that they can talk about them. So we are losing the pureness of football to watch. Just to watch your Iniesta, your Xavi, you understand, your Zidane. They didn't always score, they didn't always assist, but how they control the game, how they entertained us. You know, just to watch their talent and their brilliance. So yes, we do have those players, but then unfortunately they are focusing on stats. You understand? So that is why you see players not passing each other. Sometimes they become selfish. You look at that front four or rather front three, Madrid. You expect it to click, to be something major, but then because we know what they're gonna be fighting for the Ballon d'Or and all that. And the Ballon d'Or, nowadays, I blame Cristiano and Messi because of it all has gone down to the stats because of it was so close. The talent was there. You understand? So to break the tie, it had to be about the stats. So Kemanga winning the trophies and all that, because of it's almost 50-50 about who loves who favors who. You understand? So now it has gone to the nowadays generation. They're thinking now the stats are the main thing to win the Ballon d'Ors and all that, of which it wasn't like that back then. You see players who didn't have great stats who have won the Ballon d'Or and all that. You understand? So yeah, we do have players, and we do have players that can shake up the transfer market. But then as the Vargaman just has spoken, we have the Fabrizio Romanos and all that who are killing the vibe, just like the VAR. You understand? That's killing the vibe, the excitement of the goal. Now we have to wait and check whether is it a legitimate goal or not. That controversy on it is part of football. Yes, but then even now they still complain. It should have stood. It should have been a handball, even though there are cameras VAR. So they should have just left football as it is. You understand?
So then, Temza, I also want to give you a chance to answer the question about this modern football. Has it affected what we deem to be stars? Has it affected how teams are now building their teams? Where, maybe I don't need a Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe I bring in Hoyland or whoever, and we have a balanced team with a nice dressing room. Nobody's going to get out of hand. my manager, who's also not a superstar manager, most of them haven't coached at the high levels, can control the team, can do all of that. How much is that influencing transfers and what we see as a good transfer window?
If you can go back, this thing has been started by Pep Guardiola back at Barcelona when he started to offload big stars. Understand? He wanted full control. He couldn't stand the like. Even though he brought in Ibra, he couldn't stand Ibra. You understand? Ibrahimovic. He couldn't stand him because of how he was. We all know Ibrahimovic, how he is. So now, it all started with Pep bringing in players that are not that great. He wants to make them great so that they can be in his control. You understand? So it all started there, and then it slowly it went to other managers as well. So it has come to that now. We can see where it's only Carlo Ancelotti because of Carlo Ancelotti is a big coach who can stand in front of Carlo Ancelotti. No big star can stand in front of Carlo. Exactly. You understand? So he knows if he says something, he says it, and no big star can stand against him. But then at the same time, he understands his players, as he usually says that he allows his attacking players to enjoy football. He trusts their brilliance, their footballing IQ to win games. You understand? So so far it's only him that I see the big stars, or rather he's not afraid of using big stars. Just like rather than like Bo Pep. I think he brings players that get him. He wants to control.
You're in control,
Yes. So it kills football in a way, but then I think we might have to accept that that's where football is going. Maybe it might change as time goes on again, as it has changed right now. But then that football that we used to enjoy, OT, it's not coming back anytime soon. It's not coming back anytime soon.
It's okay, Retaba Strong. Before I let in Mel Pesty, I just want to give my thoughts here. Because we finally have a Chelsea fan, so I'm going to just give him some time there. But I think what's interesting about modern football is that it's a lot about control. I think a lot of the managers are playing FIFA Manager. You know, you tell them where to go, you tell them what to run, you tell them this, they need to go where to turn around, they need to tell you exactly how to build up and where to stand and do this and do this and do this. Back then, like we always have conversations about, I think it was Tony Adams, Kolo Toure, and those guys have come out and said, look, Arsene Wenger used to look at us and say, guys, figure it out. Like, I trust you guys. You're all very good players. You think on the ball. You're all of that. Go and play, right? And I think what then happens is a lot of change rooms don't want a big character. You don't want somebody who's got a huge following. You don't want somebody who you're going to say no to, and then tomorrow you have a whole bunch of media covering your team. You have all of these questions being asked and all of the things that come with having big players. I also think that there's a shift that teams are doing where the managers that they're bringing in are managers. They're just there to manage the team. They're not there to come up with new ideas and do crazy things and do all of these things. They're basically going, my guy, I just need you, just hold on, implement your system, play your system. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. We're not going to ask too much from you. That's why we're seeing Bob Vincent Company going to go coach Bayern. We're seeing the guy, Arne Slot, who's the Liverpool coach, taking over from Klopp, not being a coach that was a big team coach. We're seeing Bo Arteta, the assistant, coming in. We're seeing guys who come from the benches of Bo Pep and those guys coming in to become coaches, Chelsea head coach. We're seeing those type of... Football is moving towards that, because I think also at the top, there's people who are looking at it and they're going, I cannot bring in Pep again, because Pep is going to want me to go spend 300 million. Pep is going to want me to change the whole structure of the team. There's so much commitment that I have to give to Pep. And frankly, it's expensive. Maybe financial fair play also plays into that. So maybe I bring in a guy who can manage, you know, okay, it's your first time managing. We're going to give you first-time players. We're going to give you B and B plus players. Those guys that you can manage and do all that. In turn, you're going to have control on the pitch, right? It's only for Real Madrid where it's still demanded that you have to be Galacticos or some sort of Galacticos that are bringing those types. But football is moving towards that. And I think that's why we're not seeing big transfers. And I think we're not going to see big transfers, especially at the big teams, for a very long time. I don't think Arsenal is going to go out and get a huge player to come in and form part of that team. I don't think so. I don't think that Arteta even wants that, to be honest with you. Right? So now we're seeing that type of football. But anyway, before I go too far, let me bring in Mel Pesty. Mel Pesty, Chelsea fan, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm all right, man. How are you?
I'm good. We finally have somebody who can maybe give us an inside look properly. Maybe you felt it. What's happening at Chelsea, my brother? What's happening at Chelsea?
So my thing is, bro, I have views on two parts. I have views on football as a whole, but I also have views on Chelsea that also touch into football. So what do you think? Should I start with Chelsea or should I start with football as a whole?
Let's go Chelsea, then move into football as a whole.
Fantastic. So, yeah, ne? My man, you know, I'm a heavy nostalgia merchant. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm a heavy nostalgia merchant. Like, I miss the days of Drogba, Terry, SCN, Ashley Cole, Ivanovic. Man, I miss those days. Frank Lampard. I miss those days, man. But for me, it's at a place where I think more than anything, I'm happy to acknowledge the fact that, okay, cool, we might not play the same brand of football, right? But at the same time, I'm also at a place where I'm saying there is nothing wrong with us changing philosophy. But there's everything wrong with us signing 150,000 players. Like, what are we doing? Why are you signing so many wingers? Right now, if I were to say which winger starts for Chelsea, you can't tell me. The last time Chelsea won the league under Conte, I knew that in the wings, the starters were Willian and Hazard. When we won the Champions League, I knew who was starting. I can tell you the starting 11 now. In goal, it was Mendy. The back three was Thiago Silva, Rudiger, and I think it was Thiago Silva, Willian, and it was Aspi. And then we had Reece James at wing back. We had Ben Chilwell at wing back. In midfield, we had Kante, and we had Jorginho at 10. We had Mason Mount, and then the front two were Havertz and Werner. I can tell you that. Even if I go back to 2012, I can tell you the starting 11 there. Because we knew who was in our team and who were the spine of our team. Right now, if someone were to come to me and ask me, what is Chelsea's starting 11 next week when we are playing the Conference League playoffs? I can't tell you who's going to start. I don't even know the goalkeeper that will start. I don't even know the back four, back three, whatever. And that is a problem that we have. And one of the issues that it boils down to is this. I think we have gone away from a place where we had managers, and I think right now we now have coaches. So they don't decide their own team. The ownership does. Back in the day, Mourinho, I literally watched an interview that spoke about how Mourinho got to sign Didier Drogba. And Mourinho was saying, he told Abramovich, there's this guy from Marseille, don't talk too much, Mr. Abramovich, just pay the money. Because the manager decided the players he wanted, right? And that is where we were. Now, managers can't say who they want in their team. That is why João Felix are now back in our squad. Why is he there? We already have 50,000 wingers. Why is he in the squad? Why is he in the squad? And they already talks about Osimhen. I rate Osimhen as a striker. But why then do you sign Guehi? Who's this Guehi? Guehi from Barcelona. If you're gonna still sign Osimhen, for me it doesn't make any sense. How many midfielders who play 8 and 10 do we have? A plethora of them. We have so many wingers. We have so many midfielders, so many defenders. To me, it doesn't make sense. But outside of Chelsea, I want to now talk about football as a whole because I do think it touches on Chelsea.
Yeah.
You spoke earlier when I host about why is it that there isn't any hype about signings anymore. My answer to that is this. Back in the day, heavy signings that made news were signings that were signed not for potential, but they were signed at their prime. Right now, all of the signings who are big are not signed from potential, or rather, all of the signings that we have now are signed from potential and are not signed from prime. Right? When Real Madrid signed Zinedine Zidane, he was already a Ballon d'Or winner in '98. And that's when they signed him. So that was a marquee signing. When Real Madrid signed Kaká, he was a Ballon d'Or winner from 07, right? When Real Madrid signed Cristiano Ronaldo, he had already won the Ballon d'Or in 2008, right? Now we're at a place where the signings are being made from people who have not won much. Well, outside of Mbappe, who's won the World Cup, most of them are signed because of their potential, but they haven't done much. Most of the signings are coming from potential, and we are hoping that this guy is going to be incredible in his career when he gets there. But it's got nothing to do with what he has done in the game. They haven't achieved anything. Whereas back in the day, signings were made because people had won things, had accolades, and they were at the top of their game. Right now, all of the signings we're seeing are signings that are coming from a place where it's like FIFA, where people are buying a player because he has potential, and in my game, he is going to grow to 85 rating. But it's got nothing to do with reality. That is why they don't trend as much. You know, it's not because of Fabrizio or anything. We are now signing for potential, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that the players are actually in their prime. And even with the managers, we don't have managers anymore. We have coaches outside of UPEP who can actually decide his signings. Are you trying to tell me Uto Maresca can decide signings at Chelsea? Of course not. There is no manager worth his salt who would allow for a team to have over 45 players and still be signing wingers like Joao Felix. There is no way a manager would allow for that to happen. There's just no way, man. There's no way. Then I would hate to live in a world where Arsenal wins the league. I really want Man City to win it again. No, dude. As a Chelsea fan, I would hate for you to win the league, man. I'm gonna be honest. But my thing is, at least Arteta is in charge of his club, and I can respect that. at least with Arteta, bro. At least with Arteta, he is in charge of his club, so I can give him that. Me, I'm a nostalgia merchant. I want my Chelsea team to play that Italian style of football where we don't have much of the ball, but on the counter we are deadly. The thing is, managers cannot even control that because they don't run their squad. They don't even run their squad. So how do you expect them to actually implement their system? That's the problem we have.
For time's sake, I'm going to jump in because I want to let everybody have their closing statements as well.
Yes, sir.
I like that point, and I just want to add from my end, I think again there's no appetite for the stars. There's no appetite. There's nobody. The big teams, the so-called big teams. Let's look at the really big teams. Manchester City, their squad is pretty much set, right? They made some nice moves. They've got a very good squad. they would be the ones possibly that you'd be looking at to make a superstar signing. But, you know, they looked at the superstars and they went, nah, we've got, you know, Haaland and all those guys. You look at Man United, I think they've outspent whatever that they wanted to spend. They're now trying to control everything. So they're not going to go for big signings. Arsenal has heavy team chemistry. What? They've got a heavy team chemistry. Is lean. They're not going to bring in.
Flowing nicely.
They're not going to bring somebody who's going to possibly rock the boat too much. You look at Chelsea. Okay, Chelsea. It doesn't look like still Lebona. It doesn't seem like you guys want to go for stars. You'll pay a lot of money for people, but it's not stars.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
There's no stars. You look at Barcelona, they can't, so they're not doing that. PSG is probably not going to be able to sign any big players because nobody's going to want to go to the French league in the near future. Bayern just eats from Germany, basically, man. They just chow the other people's tea. So even if we were to say superstar signings, where would a superstar in his prime go if the big teams don't want to do it? I'm not going to take my 100 million followers and go sign for Aston Villa. No disrespect to Aston Villa. You know, I'm not going to do those type of things. So I think there's also that type of problem where even when they enter their primes, no one wants to go get them because we'd much rather not deal with the issues that come with those guys. You know, and who's going to go to the MLS?
Chief, I hear you, ne? But here's my thing. Instead of us buying 75 wingers and 73 midfielders, we could have taken that money and we could have just bought Osimhen and not made noise, and we could have bought De Ligt to replace Thiago Silva, and we would have been done.
No, but again, that's what I'm saying.
Knowing that Reece James has injuries, we could have bought a proper right back to replace Reece James as well. Why are we here buying 89,000 players who are not going to start games?
But can I show you something? Can I show you something? Wait, just shortly. I have to go to others. Just shortly. Look at Arsenal. I'll give you an example of Arsenal. We've got the same thing. Vieira, Lokonga, Tavares. There were players that were brought in that were just not, you're like, okay, you could have just spent that money somewhere else. You look at Manchester United bringing in people and loaning people and doing all that stuff. I think it's a trend, and it's just that it's highlighted with you guys because you guys are going through some tough times.
But here's my thing.
Do you know what I'll do?
But here's my thing, bro.
Let me do this. I'll come back, but I just want to give everybody, because we're going to be done at 9. Let me say, everybody, let's give our final, our closing statements. Maybe if we can just keep it to 2-3 minutes, everyone. Then Male Bestie Rules is going to come back around. Let Lenkosi, can you give me your closing statement?
No problem.
Yes. I'm not forgetting what I was trying to say, but we have more talks like this. So I just wanted to say all the best to all the teams. Let's try to pull our socks, and it's a new season. And what I wanted to talk about on the transfers is right now people are not looking at the biggest superstars. English football now is about hardworking. Type of a Kante thing. You see how Kante is an example of what we have right now. We want people who's going to hard work, not those social media players like Abo Popa and all that, who's going to be, Rashford is amongst them, who's going to be almost being benched sooner or later. I'm seeing on that as well. So at the moment, football right now in England is about hard work. And the other thing that I notice is we're going to have a Champions League winner in England this season. If all the big four are fighting for top league, we are going to do well in terms, because I don't see any team there trying to, only Real Madrid because of Mbappe and all that. But also they've got some other, they're not a team, man. I saw on the weekend, all of 3 of them playing on their same wing. There's no... It's going to take a while for Real Madrid to be Real Madrid. As long Cruz is not there, it's gonna take a while for them to, to be up there. So for now, English teams are the ones that have to man up and have a proper team. I'm very sad with Liverpool not buying a midfielder. That way, there's a through road there on Liverpool. Yes, up front they're good. Of course, Salah, as long as still there. Gakpo, of course, Luis, what is it? What is the name of that guy?
Luis Diaz,
If they
yeah.
don't sell him, yeah. But I'm sure the English teams are going to dominate in the European League, and
Yeah.
one of them is going to be champion. And as long as we are fighting, but as
Yeah.
long as you see West Ham, Aston Villa in the top 4, Tottenham, it's going to be much difficult. But let's these top 4 do well, and we will do well.
Let me go to Usupa. Super, your closing statements for tonight?
I think it's going to be pretty much the same as last season with 1 or 2 improvements. I think Ange Postecoglou has got a point to prove for himself, if no one else. I see Tottenham somehow being more competitive. I see Chelsea's problems continuing. Only a slight improvement from Manchester United from where I'm sitting. Definitely the title is between Arsenal and Man City. But as early as it is in the season, it's all in Manchester City's hands. In terms of the Champions League, Leona, pretty much the same. I mean, everything is cycles. We've got players that come in and then they reach their peak and then they go down. So I'm expecting the same. Borussia Dortmund, Atleti, Arsenal in the last 8, Bayern, Real, the usual suspects, couple of English teams. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a continuation of last season. I'm really not expecting any fireworks. I'm also not expecting Liverpool to do much. But the so-called smaller clubs in the English Premiership should make it interesting. I saw Wolves put up quite a fight against Arsenal. So if we've got a few more clubs like Aston Villa and Tottenham stepping up, that could make the season interesting as they would be the kingmakers.
Okay. Let me go to 014. Closing statements for tonight.
Premier League winners, for me, I still think it's going to be City. Arsenal, I don't know. I don't think you guys are yet done. The Mikel Arteta project basically started 2 seasons ago, and we're still going to see
5 years.
it. Don't be harsh. It took Pep 9 seasons to win the Champions League with City. It took Klopp thousands of years to win the Premier League. So you must realize that with Mikel Arteta, it's going to take a while for him to win the Premier League. It's a long project. As for Man United, for me personally, Erik ten Hag has his boys that he got from Ajax. So we're definitely going to see Erik ten Hag football in full flesh, So they're definitely going to be contending for some silverware. I do see them qualifying for Champions League because he has no excuses. He got boys that know what he wants, and he's definitely we're gonna see Erik ten Hag perform very well, even against clubs like Man City. For my team, top 4, risky to say that we're gonna get it, but our contenders for top 4 are not teams that are consistent, that are used to Europe, like your Aston Villa. So I think we have a chance. Unai Emery is inconsistent, so he's not really a threat. People are scared of Aston Villa. Unai Emery only won at PSG the league, and anyone can win a league at PSG. Tuchel did it. Who's this guy? Anyone can win there. So Unai Emery is not that scary. He couldn't win with Arsenal. He's not scary.
But he's got three Europa Leagues. He's Mr. Europa League.
Exactly. He's not Mr. League. But lastly, in the Champions League, Pep doesn't want it as much as he used to. I'm telling you, we all know Pep. Pep goes crazy for things. He would have changed his squad, his system. Remember, he was not afraid to get rid of everyone to get what he wants. So he won a pentaple, I'm sorry. He's fine. He's enough. He's won 4 back-to-back. He can definitely win the league again. He doesn't mind winning it. But Champions League, City is not scary. Madrid, Ancelotti has never won a title back-to-back. It's not his thing. So I think plus with the new format, anything can happen. Honestly, with this new format, I definitely think anything can happen. So we shouldn't count out all these other leagues. Honestly, I do see the German league causing a lot of upsets, especially with Leverkusen. they might cause a lot of upsets because, Shabi now lost in Europe. Now he knows that Europe is tough. So, yeah, man, those are my closing remarks. I think you guys are definitely going to win an FA Cup.
Hey, it's okay. We'll extend our FA Cup record. It's fine. Let me go to Tebza. Tebza, closing statements.
Yeah, first of all, Ilkay Gundogan can make a comeback to City. That's not good news for the Premier League. Pep will just do it again. Just when I was thinking, that team is like it's now dismantling Nyana. He's trying to rebuild it Nyana here and there. Pelabe Gundogan one more like it's Rodri, it's Gundogan, it's De Bruyne. Good bomb already.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just hope he doesn't return. But then Ivy returns, guys. I just forget about the league because we know Gundogan how is he. But then I'm just hoping Ateta gets his transfers right. He moves the players that we don't need, like the likes of Abu Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and who else? There are a couple of players, but then others said what I made again. So
Yeah.
I think he's shaping it up very well, and also we can keep Ramsdale, but then I feel he deserves to play more because I still feel that number one shirt at England, he deserves it more than Pickford really. But then we will see. I think he's gonna be sold so that we can get one or two players that we need. I think Merino is closing in on signing with us, and then let's see where we can get that striker. So the season is gonna be fantastic, guys. Because I don't think City it's that strong anymore. It is Pep, keep Pep, but then it's not that strong like other past seasons. If there's any chance, this is the chance for any team who's willing to get their hands on that Premier League. This is the chance because it's a weak City side. Let's be honest, it's a weak City side. This one, it's not that strong as the previous teams that we saw. It's again. So we will see what I think Pep is more focused on the Champions League right now. Yes, he wants the league. We know he wants to win it all, but then his main focus is on the UCL.
No, Tebza, hopefully, man, I wanna. No, wait, just once in my lifetime. I wanna talk about a star, man, or something. It's man, but it's fine. It's okay.
Let's start by winning the Premier League first. Then we will go to the Champions League. Because exactly, you understand. But then I think honestly, I think this is our year because there's this feel I have when I see them playing. When I see them playing, they are so relaxed. I don't see them having this fear, man. They have this aura. You understand? I think that they might have it in them this season, where they believe in themselves, or they can actually do this. Last season, I think if I build that confidence, or they can actually go toe to toe with City. I think they can do it. We will do it. Let's say, man, have trust.
Let me go to Belfast. Closing remarks for tonight.
First things first. There's only one team in London, and it is a team that has won every trophy, and it is a team that has won every trophy in football. So we are at a position where if Roman Abramovich and his wife decided to get divorced, and they took half of everything, Roman Abramovich's wife would still have more Champions Leagues than Arsenal. So I'm not going to sit here with people who have not won every trophy in football. We are at a place where we are the only London club that has won everything in football. We've won the Champions League, the Europa League, the FA Cup, the Carabao. Even when it was called the League Cup, Carling League Cup, we've won it when it was still sponsored by Black Label, Muna. We've been winning this thing. We've won the league. We've won everything. So as a club, we are a club that has won everything in football. And so for me, I'm at a position where I know there is only one team in London. And I know you're going to disagree, and we can have this chat another time.
One hit wonder.
Yeah, this close. Yeah, this close to being kicked off. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, this close.
But here's my thing. In your best time, all you've done is finish second. Outside of the Invincibles, all you have done is finish second.
Leave us alone.
This is now personal.
Tina,
it's closing statements and I'm getting hit now.
You realize, even when we were not at our best, we still were in the FA Cup final and we won the Champions League against the best team in Europe. City were amazing in 2021. We still chowed them nicely. And our man of the match was Kante.
But why are you fighting, Jim? Why are you fighting?
No, I'm not fighting.
It's final statements. So now you're fighting.
I'm not fighting. I'm stating facts.
2 minutes to the show being over, and you take out your card now. Aye, man.
Maybe you should have declared war at the beginning. Now I'm going to like a counter take a last minute. Do I do
and that is what Chelsea are known for. Let the Man United fans on the counter. We have never been stoppable. Chelsea are unstoppable on the counter. Ask Barcelona, they'll tell you about the Torres moment. They will tell you about Torres moment. All I'm gonna say is, guys, come on, the Chelsea. If you were to cut me today, my blood still bleeds blue. But what I'm gonna say is, I do want my club to do better. I want us to focus more on quality rather than quantity of signings. Okay. I hate to. Given the fact that Arsenal are the only other potential winners, I'd be okay if City won the league. I'm gonna be honest. But with all of that said, I'm gonna say, Guti, I think that if we are gonna sign anybody right now, I want us to sign a world-class number 9. I'm tired of signing potential. I want to sign someone who's in his prime. So if we were to get to Osimhen, I'd be happy. But we'll see how things go, man. We'll see how things go. I do think that Arsenal are going to do well in the Champions League. And I would like for you guys to actually do well in your season as well. I'm not going to lie about that. But I do think Real Madrid win the Champions League. I think City win the league. I think the top 4, I would like for us to be there. But I really can't guarantee that we can do it. But man, let's see how the season goes, man. Let's see how it goes.
I was having such a nice show, and then someone decided that no, he's shooting. But it's okay, guys. It's okay. Chelsea wins all the trophies.
What does that matter?
Does that matter? But anyway, guys, I'm gonna have to go. But my thoughts are very simple. I don't see much change in what the structure of the English Premiership is going to be. I don't think there's going to be too many changes in terms of the spots that everybody moves up or down. I think the Champions League is still going to fall within Real Madrid's control. They're the ones who are looking to win that thing. If not them, it's probably going to be City maybe again. So let's see what happens. I can't spend too much time. I have to be off at 9. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you to those that joined on the panel. I'll do more of the English Premiership stuff and we'll look overseas a little bit more this season. I promise you guys. I promised you guys last season. So we're going to do more of this. But tomorrow, back to the PSL, we're going to be speaking about local football. We're going to speak about bafana, the club, the squad that was announced now. If you have not followed, please follow. If you came in late and you want to watch any of the previous episodes, they are available in full on YouTube. So head on over there if you want to watch that. I also drop content almost every day, my own content. So currently there's a video out on YouTube speaking about why this is Mamelodi Sundowns' most important season possibly of their history. So check that out. That is in full there on YouTube. The show is on Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. Fridays at 12:30 with the members show. The members are the people who are in the WhatsApp group. If you want to be part of the WhatsApp group, head on over to YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join, and then you'll be able to get into the WhatsApp group, and we can have more conversations there that we do without the time limits that we have here. And we speak every single day on that group. You can send a message at 4 a.m. and somebody will answer you. Guys, it's been amazing. Thank you to Lindo Pep for the rose. Thank you to Lenkosi. Thank you to Miss K for the roses. Guys, I'll see you then tomorrow, 7 p.m. Bye, guys.